Hello, good evening. This is In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post on the eve of the Coral-Eclipse at Sandown, of course. And look, we've got a cracking race in prospect with 5 Group 1 winners, the beaten Derby favourite. We've got 6 different sires, we've got 5 different trainers, we've got British, Irish and French challengers, we've got a partridge in a pear tree. What more do you want for Group 1 action? Now, with the entries, we're maybe hoping for an each-way angle, at least 8 runners, but of the 6, we get to challenge the classic generation against the older horses. And the question is, there's quite a lot of 3-year-olds lining up to have a crack at Ombudsman and Sozi tomorrow, but the big question is, are any of them anywhere near good enough to put it up to the older horses at the top of the betting? Ombudsman, so fantastic, so impressive at Royal Ascot, and Sozi can't stop winning Group 1s and is coming over to try and hold up Maxime Gouillon's unbeaten record at Sandown as well. He's popped over for one in the past, he won on it, and he hasn't been over since. So look, we've got a cracking supporting card at Sandown as well, and of course the Lancashire Oaks over at Haydock. Lancashire, Yorkshire, then Paris, then the world potentially for those middle distance fillies and mares, and elsewhere we've got a couple of nice betting heats at Haydock as well. The Old Newton Cup's always an absolute cracker, and a couple of really good handicaps over at Sandown as well. It is live and interactive, as you would expect. Hello to all you viewers and your early birds, to JJ13, to Alan Parrish, to Tommy Daniels and Gary Shaw, and hello to Paul Tolliver. First comment on the chat, thumbs down, dreadful card at Sandown. Lovely stuff. It's that positivity that gets us through the evening. But yeah, Paul Tolliver, straight off the bat, dreadful card at Sandown. Luckily, we've got a fantastic panel for you to go through that dreadful card at Sandown. Paul Kealy is in the studio with me. It's not bad, is it?
I don't think it's dreadful, no.
I don't think it's dreadful at all.
No, I think it's quite good. I mean, basically, they beefed up day 1 by moving a few of the races a few years ago. So there are a few like lower class handicaps towards the end of the card, but the first 4 are pretty good, and all the racing is competitive. Yeah,
and I mean they are, quote unquote lower class handicaps, but they're, 9, 12, 9, 12.
Yeah, there's some interesting horses in them, without a doubt.
Yeah. So, and you've also got Haydock on the agenda as well. I mean, the Lancashire Oaks is probably the disappointing race of the weekend.
Yeah, always is when you get a horse, when you get a filly that's shaping up to being that good, you scare the rivals off, don't you? It's like any group race outside Group 1 level, sometimes including Group 1 level. Yeah. That's what you get.
And as for the Eclipse, I feel like we do this dance every year where you get excited about the entries and then you maybe you go from fantasy to reality, but we've got 6 genuine Group 1 horses lining up.
Yeah.
How good are Group 1 horses than there's Group 1 horses?
Yeah, we don't know, do we? I mean, we've got one that we know that's very good, or sorry, 2 that we know that are very good. They're the elder ones. The 3-year-olds have got to improve. Even the Guineas winner has got to improve. Yeah,
this tends to be the race where one of the 3-year-olds, either they emerge from the pack or you realise they're not that good.
Yeah. Well, it's the first one. It gives you a sizer for the rest of the season, doesn't it?
Yeah. Tom Segal is sat at home, and again a man who loves watching Group 1 horses rattle around Group 1 tracks. What do you make of tomorrow's lineup?
Well, it's really good, isn't it? You've got 2 classic winners. You've got a Group 1 2-year-old winner. You've got the Ghanaian and the Isfahan winner, and you've got the Prince of Wales winner. If you'd had those, I mean, look at the last couple of years, we've had nothing like this. This is the proper race, a clash of the generations. Really looking forward to it. It's not quite back to the days that Keels and I will remember of them, Toto and Nashwan and horses like that, but it's not far off, and it's one of the more fascinating races run this season by easily. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Tom, again, what with the way the breeding's going, those days are gone, my friend. I think it's fair to say in the middle distance contest, but I mean that is the question, isn't it? Because, like I said, back in the day, you would expect those middle distance breeding, the 3-year-olds, the classic generation, you would have 1 or 2 emerge every year, but the way the breed is going, is there a possibility that we might not get a decent 3-year-old? It might be 1 every 3 seasons, maybe.
Yeah, it is, and the problem is that if you get a decent 3-year-old, they tend not to stick around as 4-year-olds, do you? So then if you get a decent 3-year-old, you might not have decent 4-year-olds. So it's a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just the way breeding industry's gone, isn't it? Luckily, we still have Godolphin, we still have and Coolmore. I know Jabmonti haven't got a runner, but we've got those two to provide for, and the Wertheimer brothers over in France. So we've got 5 top-class horses from top-class operations, because our sprinters are so bad. If we didn't have these people around, we would be the laughing stock. We wouldn't win a Group 1 anywhere in the world if we didn't have these breeder operations. So it's great to have them. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a great race.
First question, I mean, the main question is, of course, there's probably 2 camps of Ombudsman's nailed on, and Ombudsman won't get the race in any way run to suit again. It's quite a rarity, actually. I mean, past 25 years, that we've had 6 horses come having won the Prince of Wales and then come to the Eclipse. Like you said, it's normally a King George or a Juddmonte next, isn't it? So, and only Al Kazim of those winners has actually gone on and followed up in the Eclipse. How different are you expecting tomorrow's race to be to what Ombudsman experienced at Ascot?
Well, it'll be very different, won't it? Because they went bonkers, didn't they? The Coolmore team went really, really hard, and it's not going to be like that. But everyone, the Gosens know that. Everyone knows that. So I don't expect Ombudsman to be miles off the pace, because if he's miles off the pace, it's making his life really hard. And someone's going to take the bull by the horns, aren't they? It could be the French horse, it could be Aidan O'Brien, it could be any of them that take the bull by the horns and go on, because you might be at a tactical advantage that way. I don't think it will be a Mickey Mouse race by any stretch of the imagination, because I don't see the point of it. I don't see the point of it for the 2 older horses. Do you know what I mean? If they're going to dawdle around and let Delacroix or one of those have an easy lead, trying to give them £10, makes their life a lot harder. So I expect one of them to go on. I think it might be the French horse, actually, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Keels, of course, I mean, we will properly delve into this later on, but in terms of it is tactically, the Eclipse is always quite fascinating, but it's all well and good knowing it's going to be different, but actually doing something about it is a completely different proposition.
I mean, to be held up out the back was something that Ombudsman did different last time. He's not been that far out, but it's just William Buick cottoned onto this. Hang on, they're going fast here, so I'm going to sit back.
We probably couldn't keep up. We were going that fast, to be fair. I mean, if he is,
I'm not sure about that. He travelled okay, didn't he?
Oh, I just mean, they were going.
Yeah.
They were going 6-7 furlong pace.
Well, yeah, exactly. So Buick clocked it and did what he had to do.
Yeah.
Put him in the best place.
All right. Well, we'll dig into the big race and more from Sandown and Haydock very shortly indeed. Okay, yeah, sign up to Racing Post Plus, then you get the best bets from Keels and from Tom as well. Johnny Deneen in tomorrow's paper's got a very strong opinion on the favourite in the Eclipse, and I genuinely can never guess with Johnny. It's a toss of a coin whether he's going to lay it for to the heavens or smash it off the boards. David Jennings got a very strong view on the Guineas favourite as well. He's also spoken to Colin Keane for the weekend's big read, which you can read tomorrow as well. Albeit it might be a slightly different discussion after Windlord potentially. Keels and Tom, he might miss that field of goal ride at Goodwood.
Apparently so. The old whip counters have been saying on social media that he's gone well over, and is facing a large ban, which will rule him out of Goodwood. Be interesting to see whether that's true.
Yep.
I haven't heard anything as of yet.
It was 8 strikes in the final furlong, and you get a final furlong or 2. What's the limit of getting a cab?
I've absolutely no idea.
I feel like it's 6. I feel like it's anyway, but I don't know. He's trying to keep up with it, but
I should know. But
yeah, the old jockey fun and games with Field of Gold shows no sign of stopping, Tom.
No, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it, if that's the case? I hope not. I mean, I saw that race, didn't notice anything. And that's the thing. I mean, sometimes you watch these jump races and you sort of think, Christ, that's a bit too much. Didn't see that, but then I haven't watched it closely enough to see. But it'd be a shame. It'd be a shame because I thought, it's a brilliant horse and it's a brilliant jockey.
Yeah. You want to see them all lined up at Goodwood with, like you said, all taking each other on with the right man in the saddle. Right, let's go to tomorrow's racing then. First race of the day we're going to be looking at is the Coral Charge, 5 furlongs, the distance here for this Group 3 contest, and She's Quality is 130 favourite here. Kurdos 7-2, Adrestia 11-2, Rumstar 6-1, Balmoral Lady 8-1, Westacre 17-2, Saratoga Special 10s, Chagrin is 11-1. It's bigger the rest then, 11 of them lining up at Sandown tomorrow for the Coral Charge, and it's not just the middle distance horses that get to test the 3-year-olds against the elders as well. Got quite a few impressive 3-year-olds in this opener as well. We've had a few over the years win. Admittedly, given the way that the 5 furlong track at Sandown is riding at the moment, the fact that the 3-year-olds have drawn boxes 1, 2 and 3 for Queen All-Star Adrestia at Saratoga Special might make things very interesting indeed, because it can get, let's say, a little bit lively on that rail, Keels.
Yeah, it's not always the place to be nowadays, is it? I mean, that's the issue. You can find all sorts of trouble. I mean, it used to be just get on that rail, make all, but nowadays you get an awful lot of trouble in running. I don't think there's certainly nowhere near as big a draw advantage now as there used to be by being drawn near that rail. I'm going to be boring. I just think Kurdos is going to win.
Yeah, fair enough. 7-2 win is not that boring.
72, that'll do, won't it? I just thought it was quite obvious. He was 5th in the King Charles II, as they now call it, from the King Stand. Only horse in the first 8 drawn in a single figure stall, and he was in 3. He was only beaten 2 lengths. Likes a strong pace to get out. She's Quality is one of a few that will set it. And you know, although she's gone close in 2 runs this year at Newmarket and Haydock, they were a good deal sharper than Sandown, and she's been picked up both times. Not sure the trainer's in brilliant form either, so I would say Kurdos is very, very much the one to beat. I'd fear Adrestia, I think, a little bit, just because she looked really good, but it was only a win off a mark in the 80s at Royal Ascot, so she's got to jump up again pretty quickly. And Balmoral Lady, I'd give her a chance as well. But the others, they've got bits and pieces of form that put them in there. You shouldn't write them off too quickly, I suppose. But you know, Westacre looked good in Maidan, but his last 2 runs have been poor by comparison. Rumstar seems to have lost the plot since that first time out win. So yeah, I just thought if it would fall into Kurdos's lap if he gets a run.
Yeah, and again, Clive Cox, a trainer who there's a few trainers of the past week or two that have had a fairly lengthy cold spell to the start of the season, but Clive Cox's horses suddenly are getting warmer. So
Very
good
much
timing.
So. Very much. Well, I hope so.
Yeah, 7-2 Kurdos, second favourite here. 4 3-year-olds have won this in the past 10 years, Tom. 3 of them were rated 109, and you've got quite a few 3-year-olds in here who might improve, but the highest rated one is Westacre, who's rated 110, and he's 17-2 for George Scott and Callum Shepherd. I'm not entirely sure I would entirely rule him out after just one run back on these shores after the Maidan exploits, but there are loads of others you could throw in. I mean, again, Chagrin's knocking at the door as well. I even had a little goosey gander at Monacan at bigger price. I've forgotten he existed, Monacan, but he looked a right old sprinter going places a few years ago, and it wouldn't take too much to bounce back in this grade. But yeah, what did you like in this?
I mean, it's one of those races that if you've got the early prices in the week, you'd probably be quite happy with your Kurdos or your Sweet She's Quality bet. I think Keels hit the nail on the head then when he said if he gets a run or if she gets a run. Do you know what I mean? I don't like stand down sprints up that 5 furlong race up 7-2 and 100-30. So I'd be hoping a sort of bit like today, where the sprinters were coming up the middle. I might throw a few quid at Balmoral Lady, just because I thought she ran a cracker in the King Stand. She wasn't far behind Kurdos, and she was stranded right on the far side on her own. She went past Believing, who was one of the favourites, and I just thought she ran better than the finishing position. She was never really involved in the race, whereas Kurdos, while being drawn nearby, sort of got in the hustle and bustle of it a bit, and she was right on the wing. And so I'd give her a shot. And as you say, Westacre, he was drawn right on the other side in the King Stand, and he never got in the race either. So, and then he finished okay. If he can keep up, I think the track might suit those two, but they're drawn in 10 and 11, aren't they? So you pay your money, you take your chance. They might be a bit bigger tomorrow. And also, I don't know, this is probably because I didn't tip in the race. I didn't really know what they were doing with the rails. If they move them, if they take them down and it's a full track, then it can be a massive draw advantage on that far side. But I didn't actually check that out because it's not a race that interests me too much. So I might throw a few quid about on Moral Lady.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the 3-year-old race today was won by the bowling horse drawn widest for coming down the middle, and there was a race at the last Sandown meeting. In fact, to tell you what, I think he's literally right now. There's a horse running at Beverley called Good Earth, who was drawn. I think Good Earth and Always Glamorous were drawn 1 and 2. Had a nightmare down the rail, and the 4 widest draws came down the middle. So it'd be interesting to see again if it happens again, because it's like you say about York, but it's the same with a lot of these sprinters. It's, you know, you go that fast over 5 furlongs, you get snatched up once, you get caught in a box. Everything else has gone past you, hasn't it?
I mean, I've had so many nightmares on this track. I backed one of Michael Stout's once that went on to win the Betfred the Cup, or it was second in the Golden Jubilee. I can't remember what it was called. It was running over 5 furlongs for the first time. It never got a run for us the whole way through the race. And you know, this is what happens there. So you need a bit of luck. That's why I don't like playing Sandown sprints. I certainly don't like playing short prices in chance.
The rail is the same as today, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
good.
just
So
checked.
I know exactly the horse you know. As soon as you said it, it was Dream of Dreams, wasn't it?
Dream of Dreams, yeah.
In this race, drawn in box 1, finished 5th. Tracked leaders against rail, pushed along, clear run on inner, stayed on, not paced the challenge. Jockey said Colt was denied a clear run. Yeah, like you said, and then about 2 years later, he was winning and placing in every Group 1 sprint going.
Exactly, he was a lot better than the horses he was running against that day. So it's just the way it goes. So I'll play wide draws. I'm going to Sandown tomorrow, so I'll have a few quid on the tote or somewhere on wide draws and hope that they're bigger prices than they should be.
All right, okay. As for the chat, what do we got? Addressed, of course, to Twitter says Tommy Daniels. Darren has gone for Kurdos. Yeah, that's about it in the opener, I believe. Okay, that's the Coral Charge. She's quality, the favourite, but we're taking her on. Moving on then, over to Haydock for a cracking little 3-year-old handicap. Again, they are my sort of, I don't know if I say speciality, but certainly my favourite type of races that other people don't get too excited about, because you've got a load of progressive types. Any of these could progress from marks in the 80s potentially up into group class horses next year, especially given the favourite is trained by William Haggas as a 3-year-old, and given his record with 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds of this nature, maybe Valiance is only just getting started, but Market has certainly found him. 7-2 favourite. Many Men 5s. Ames is 6-1. Bonnie Moon 8-1. Way of Stars 8-1. Novelista 8-1. Deepwater Bay 17-2. Prince of the Seas is 10-1, and then you've got Polestar and Last Galileo in here as well. And Valiancy bidding to do something that hasn't been done in 10 years and win this race on handicap debut here, Tom Segal, but. Again, William Haggas in these silks after that win last time out. He was always going to be favourite, and he might be, like you said about Dream of Dreams, he might end up the best horse in this race, but yeah, he's not been missed.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I thought Polestar outstayed him when they ran over course and distance 2 runs ago. Then he went up to Haydock and won at 1-7. And the discrepancy in price is quite marked. I don't know. I mean, look, I get why he's favourite. He just looks plenty short enough on what he's achieved. There's obviously more to come from him. He's gelded. He's by Cracksman. Is he going to stay? I don't know. I thought Many Men was the really, really solid here. I thought he had a very, very good chance 2 starts ago. That form at York couldn't have worked out better. Obviously, Merchant, you all know what Merchant did. Rahib went out and finished 3rd she ran absolute blinder in the Queen's Vase. The 4th was Pantile Warrior, who ran a cracker at Royal Ascot too. Many Men split them. He's £5 higher here, but that's nothing. And then he went on to Doncaster, and how he won, I don't know. He stepped up to 1 mile and 6 for the first time, and he got shuffled back. He was last nearly with 2 furlongs to go, and he sort of went around the whole field. I just think he's a seriously progressive, strong stayer that's got everything going for him. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure if he was trained by William Haggas, he'd be 7-2. But he's not. He's trained by Jim Boyle. So I was quite keen on Many Men. I think he'll go really well.
Yeah, I think that's the key. The key form line. I think. Well, York form, but also that Doncaster race did look a good one. But again, I mean, I watched that race back, and there was 2 horses I made a note of in that race, Tom, and one was Polestar, who got outpaced at a crucial point and then coasted home. But he was his handicap debut, and he just looked a little bit clueless. The other one I thought is going to run a blinder here is Way of Stars, who hit the front about 2 furlongs out at Doncaster, got swamped, and then was coming back again. I mean, Andrew Balding at the moment, I mean, he had 5 winners last Saturday. I mean, he could easily have another 5 tomorrow, and he's only got about 8 runners. So, but yeah, you're right. I mean, but they're what? 8 to 1 and 14
Not much
to
difference
1?
in price. Yeah, well, Polestar's a big price, and I just thought, watching these races again, I just think that Many Men's going places.
Yeah.
And I thought it wasn't like he was 5 to 2.
No, I guess my overall point is that, again, the more I look at this race, the more I think Valencia might be good, but I want to take him on.
Exactly.
Many Men 5 to 1 then, and again, yeah, you probably could make the argument that if he was sexier connections, you might be able to. It might swap the prices here, Keels.
Yeah, you could definitely make that argument, and I can see it. But there's another argument for one at a much bigger price. It's just this form all ties in, doesn't it? You see, when they were third to when they were behind Merchant. I'm trying to find the line of form now. There were other horses in the race.
Last Galileo, is that Novelista?
Right. Yeah, Novelista. Novelista was 5th or 6th, wasn't it? No, Last Galileo was 6th. Hansel Warrior was 4th in that race.
Yeah.
Right. So Many Men comes out, beats Novelista again, beats Way of Stars into 4th. Pantile Warrior is 3rd. But in that first race against Merchant, Last Galileo was 5th. He's £8 better off with Better Men. He's better off with Novelista too. He's the outsider of the lot. Now he's run twice since. First time at Haydock, he finished 2nd in a race that looked good for the grade. There was a few in there that were coming in off the back of wins.
Yeah.
I think the 5th, 6th and 8th have all won since.
Yeah.
He was 2nd in there, didn't get the best of runs early, ran on late. And then last time, I mean, this is a horse that's got Stayer written all over it, isn't it? Like, you know, and he got the run of the race, you could say, at Newmarket last time when he made the running, but he didn't go fast enough because he ain't fast enough. He doesn't do anything that quickly, and he is crying out for a step up to a mile and 6 furlongs. His brother won a Group 3 over a mile and 6 the first time he ran over that trip, and was like 7th in a Melbourne Cup.
Yeah.
So I just thought, if you believe all those formulas about the others, and you were to cast out the last run of Last Galileo, he'd be half the price he is.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm not saying he's going to win, but he'd be nearer in price to Way of Stars and Novelista than he is at the very least. He's £8 better off with Many Men, remember, for 2.5 lengths or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and of course, his best run since then was at Haydock.
At Haydock. And this is the other thing, he's run twice at Newmarket. He's hated it both times. I mean, the amount of horses I see, and I always...
I don't know whether he really hated it last time, because he wasn't beaten far.
It's more for me, I guess, you see horses who run at your Haydocks and your Yorks and your sort of your flat, speedy galloping
I'm sure
track.
it suits. I'm sure this will probably suit him a little bit better. But I wouldn't say he ran. I wouldn't even say he ran really badly last time. He just didn't make it enough of a test for a horse that wants a test, because it was incredibly slow, and I think it was 110% finishing speed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, that you sometimes think if you've got a stayer and it's a small field and you think they get an easy lead and dawdle, you think, well, you know, over a shorter trip, you'd quicken off the front, but he couldn't.
He
Quicken off the
He
front.
doesn't quicken.
He doesn't quicken.
But he got beat 2 3/4 lengths. So I don't think it was that bad a race, and I think the rest of his form gives him chances with a lot of these.
Yeah.
Given the price he is.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, but yeah, I'm going to go. I quite like Way of Stars. Like I said, it was unlucky at Southwell. Came from miles back at Chester behind Lady Vivian. Had no chance in that race. Hit the front too soon at Doncaster. Andrew Balding on a big Saturday. But again, yeah, that's. I think we're going to have to box up the TriCast here, aren't we? Off the field, I think, potentially. Very boring, says Gary Shaw, because he's going for Valiancy. Darren is going for that. So after all that, we're all taking
I mean, this is the thing. I mean, it's William Haggis at Haydock in this race, isn't it? He's had 3 of the last 5 winners. He saddled the favourite in the 2 other years as well. One of them slipped up last year, they abandoned the meeting, and the other one actually got withdrawn at the start. So... You know, he does target it. He's very good at getting horses handicapped by winning bad races in the north. And it's got him written all over it. I mean, it wouldn't surprise you if it just wins, would it?
No, he won the same race with the horse you mentioned with Dramatic Star. Went to Hamilton, won that race, and he was the one that slipped up last year. Yeah. And he since came back and won on the all-weather. So, yeah. Yeah, fair enough. So barring an act of God, potentially. But we have taken the favourite on here at Haydock for the 205. Moving on then, and rattling back down south to Sandown is the Coral Challenge. We've got a mile handicap here, and Treasure Time is 11-4 favourite. Greek Order 3's Classic Encounter 11-2. Classic is 13-2. Tribal Chief is 10-1. Mursky 12-1. Adaseg 14's Principality is 18-1. And bigger prices the rest here. And again, slightly biased, but thrilled to see Treasure Time back on the track, as I do stuff for Raceshed, and we've been waiting for Treasure Time to get back because he was incredibly progressive last year, and yeah, he's a proper Haggis handicapper going places once again. He got balloted out of the Hunt Cup, he got balloted out of the Buckingham Palace. I mean, off a mark of 94, he couldn't get into either of them. It was absolutely. I think,
isn't it? Yeah.
The owners had bought 300 top hats and they couldn't wear them. But
it is a bit unfortunate, isn't it? And he actually spent a lot of the anti-post betting being shorter in price than Bullet Point of Haggis's, who finished second to My Cloud.
Yeah.
It went the other way in the end, but I think that was largely because Bullet Point was always more likely to get in. So yeah, I mean, he's got a right chance. There's another race that Haggis has won a couple of times recently, including one first time out. So, you know, he can get them ready. He was serious.
Mojito, wasn't it, Kealy?
Yeah, that's
Mojito,
it, mate.
One of your favourite drinks.
Yeah, I do like
when
them.
You're sitting in Spain,
I do like
when
them,
you're sitting in Spain after 18 holes, barman, garçon?
18 mojitos, mate, not 18 holes.
Keels is the only man who has a pint of Guinness with a mojito chaser. So I'd let you get you a man who can do both, is what I'm saying. But no, he did. Mojito came off a mammoth absence, didn't he?
Yeah.
So Montafam won this.
So
as
he
well.
can do it. I mean, it looks very much like it. You know, unless he had a setback, it looks like it was the plan to go to a big handicap first time out this season because he's that well handicapped. So you've got to fear him. You really have. I mean, it could be straightforward. It could be considerably better than the
Keels, can I ask a question? I'll put my hand up. Trap one. Would you like, if you could choose, would you have trap one?
I don't know. It's a bit like, Ascot, is it? For a hold-up horse, no, you wouldn't want it. But I mean, he has been ridden prominently. It's another horse that, he's unlikely to be dropped right out. I mean, and the one thing, Haggis will know this as well. They know all about Sandown, and you get these, these handicaps and small field races where they always make the running. But this is a bigger field, so there's more of a chance of a solid pace, I'd have thought.
It's not. I mean,
I'll probably say on him. I haven't backed him, but I mean, it's not going to be remotely surprising if he hacks up and proves a lot better.
Yeah.
Greek Order obviously finished fourth in the Hunt Cup, which is a very good run. Got Ryan Moore on it. I would say out of the two, I mean, they're 3-1 the pair. I would say that Treasure Time has easily got the most potential out of those two, if you're going to pick the two. So I'd imagine Treasure Time would end up the clear favourite. But I thought there are a couple of firms offering 4 places, and one was the top price of 7-1 at one point, and they still are. And I just thought Classic is just
our old Sandown friend.
He's run 5 times at Sandown. He's run 2 stinkers, including in this race last year, but they were both on very bad ground. Yeah. And he doesn't want that. And otherwise, it's 1-2-2. He won at the meeting in the 7 furlong handicap 2 years ago. And he was second last time to Urban Lion, who did handle him quite well, but again, in a small field. But Urban Lion's finished 5th in the Hunt Cup since, so that's a really solid piece of form. He's just going to run his race. He was 15-2 last year, off a mark of 93 when the ground was against him. He's a very similar price this year, off a mark of 87 when the ground is right. Whether he's going to prove good enough to beat Treasure Time, I don't know, but he is well handicapped. He is his track, and I have backed him each way.
Yeah, he's not actually won over a mile, remarkably. He's run 11 times. He's never actually won over a mile, which is bizarre.
He gets it fine though, doesn't he?
He gets it fine. I mean, the 2 Newbury runs were, interesting, given where he was in the on the track. I mean, they had no chance of his track position.
Exactly. And he's got plenty of talent, hasn't he?
If I'm honest, it was a rare Ryan Moore stinker a bit, I thought, last time out. He kind of it was a classic that kind of boxed in, and you think, oh God. I mean, he got beat by a good horse, but it would have been a bit tighter, I think, if he'd have got a clear run. Yeah. So yeah. He is a danger. I mean, again, there's loads of dangers in here. Obviously,
sounds like me that you'll be playing the Treasure Time Classic forecast tomorrow.
but Boxes 1 and 2 though, again, which could be
I'm worried about him.
It is just, again, that Sandown straight. I mean, you just need to get rolling, don't you, Tom? And again, we've seen it a couple of times this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, that 2-year-old race was ridiculous, wasn't it? There was the one horse should have won by 5 lengths, shouldn't it? And didn't, because he got stuck on the rail.
Yeah.
Just something coming back on you if there's no pace, or if one goes too fast and you're in trap 1 and they all crowd you out and you get stuck behind them, there's nothing you can do. There's literally nothing you can do. So, look, you play your money, you take your chance. That's the only thing I'd say. He's 11-4, isn't he? So I hate the thought of watching him with my money on being hampered 57 times. Do you know what I mean? And not get there.
And it happened. It happened at Good. He was one of 5 that got smashed to bits at Goodwood. Yeah. At Doncaster, they crawled off the front, and he should have finished at least second, and Johan quickened, but it could easily. I mean, but again, these races, you could run this. You could run at Goodwood in the Golden Mile. You could run at York. You could run in the Cambridgeshire, and you could run in every single race, and be badly drawn every single time and run a blinder, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, it's not saying he can't win. Of course he can, but he just needs. Look, Tom Marquand and William Haggas will know exactly what they're going to do. Excuse me. So it might not be an issue at all. They might make the running. Who knows? But it is something that I would always bear in mind at Sandown at 11-4. If he was 11-2, it'd be a different kettle of fish, isn't it? But he is 11-4, and that worries me. I thought Mursky had a chance myself. I just thought he doesn't like straight tracks, Mursky, does he? Likes going around a bend. Thursky was good. Epsom, he was good. I thought he was really good at Epsom. I just thought he's just uncomplicated. Oisin Murphy rides him well. I just thought he was uncomplicated. He might hit the frame, but once again, this is not a race I'm going to play heavily in at all.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. All right, fair enough. I could have sworn you were going to throw it in here at a big price. I thought something was going to.
Mercy trained by David O'Mara. I had back Julia Augusta, who I really fancied, and she was a silly price. But now I know why she was a silly price, because apparently she was never really an intended runner, unfortunately, and might go to Ponty for a listed race and ruin her handicap mark instead, which would drive me mad as a handicap punter. But the one possible negative I have with O'Meara is the form of the yards. Now 0 from 50 in the last 15 days. He has been having a lot of thirds and fourths recently, but
he's just had one beaten on the line at Haydock. He had one beaten on the line at Donny earlier on. So it's amazing how it turns.
So it's could be just one of those things. He runs tons of horses at all different levels as well, but it is a question mark.
Yeah. But back to Omar with Oisin Murphy in the saddle is definitely a positive. And I cannot mention a mile handicap at Sandown without saying the word Too Tempting as well, who is just a horse you would absolutely love to own, because he runs his absolute face off year on year. He's 6 years old. He's getting better and better with Johnny Portman and Rob Hornby. He's a course and distance winner, and he's 22-1. So yeah, I genuinely don't know who the person saying it was a bad card at Sandown earlier on, because even that race alone is a potential cracker. So yeah, Too Tempting 20-1 there. Classic always
2 races as well.
We've only done 2 races, yeah, Sandown as well. We've got the whole card to go yet. Classic always gets into trouble. Not sure it really wants to win either. Says Terrific Lad. Paul Tyler says Marquand is 29 from 169 and plus 43 quid at Sandown last 5 years. And Grant Swain says only just seen Ross has a cauliflower ear. It's an earpiece. So I think that's what you mean. It's just an earpiece.
Oh dear.
I've not been.
That's a cauliflower ear. Don't look at any part of me.
I was going to say, yeah, you should have met my granddad. It's coming for me eventually, but not quite yet. Anyway, rattling over to Haydock from the Coral Challenge to the Lancashire Oaks again. Disappointing field in a certain sense, but possibly a nice horse at the top of the betting here, and that is Estrange. 1-4 though. 3-1 Scenic, Nui is 20-1, Love Talk is 33s. Like I said, if you win this and then go to the Yorkshire Oaks and win that, traditionally over the past, the recent years in particular, that gives you a right old crack at the Arc, and that is the race that David O'Mara has been talking up. But yes, he's having horses hit the frame, but 50 runners without a winner. I still don't want to be piling in at 1-4, Tom. Or Keels.
Sorry.
No, you take it away.
Look, she looked brilliant the other day, didn't she? She might well be on her way to being an Arc filly, and she'll probably win if they get the rain, because if they don't get the rain, she won't run.
Yep.
But no, you want every single box ticked if you're going to bet a 1 to 4. I mean, I've never bet a 1 to 4 in my life, but
No.
But you want every single box ticked, and a 0 from 50 going in is going to worry you.
And especially, I want a horse with, if I'm backing at 1 to 4, I want slightly more than £7 in hand over the main rival, I think, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a horse later on that was £7 in hand over everything, and there's 11 to 10.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, she did absolutely dot up in the, the pedigree's exceptional, as you would expect. I mean, I imagine with David Amara, who doesn't, like some trainers with runners at Haydock and Sandown tomorrow, doesn't have 2 or 3 of these come through every season. Tom, he must be, doing a rain dance right now, buying all the watering cans he can, and hope that she stays sound.
The covers are on at Edgbaston, I can tell you that. There's rain around. I know it's not that close, but it's not far away. So there might be a bit of rain. There might be a bit of rain. So who knows? Who knows? She'll win if she runs, won't she? I mean, that's as simple as that. It's not a race that I've got any, I've got interest in watching it because the Stranger's running. But apart from that, let's move on.
Fair enough.
Well, the question is, right, it's not a betting race, is it?
No, but I mean, all right. Well, here's the only question you could possibly ask then: can Scenic beat her? And if so, how?
Well, Scenic's getting better, isn't she? She's improving. I don't know. No, she can't beat her. She's not good enough. But if David and O'Meara's horses are running badly and the ground's very fast, who knows? But I don't think she's as good as a Strange. Anywhere near as good as a Strange.
No, fair enough. Look, as a Yorkshireman, this is about as we should be giving the short shrift to the Lancashire Oaks. Wait to the Yorkshire Oaks, then we'll get excited, won't we?
Yeah.
And Terrific Lad 33, which I now know is Tom Segal's alter ego, says crap race, move on. Okay, let's do just that, shall we? As we go over to Sandown for the Distaff, the listed race for the fillies over the mile here. Blue Bolt 2-1 favourite, Cajole 6-1, Victory Queen 6-1, Supermodel 6-1, Bermuda Longtail 7-1, Miss Tonnerre 17-2, Suis Francais is 10-1, Tundra Rose is 20-1, and Serving with Style is the outsider of the bunch here for a race that has given me palpitations over the years. I've completely forgotten the Carl Burke filly's name, but we mention her every time she runs, me and Paul Kealy. Backseat there we go.
That's it, yeah.
She got stopped about 14 times in a run.
Yeah, I've since proved about 28 times later that she's not good enough.
She's not good enough, no, fair enough. Then last year I backed Riga Jubilee, anti-post at 9-1, went off 9-4, backed it each way. She finished 4th. Yeah. So, this year it's who's going to break my heart this year? But the past few years, Balding, Gosden, Haggis, they're your 3, and unsurprisingly, they train 4 of the 5 in the betting. Tom, again, Colin Keane though. I said at Royal Ascot, it was a big job, and it's a tough time to step into a big job given the publicity, and he's had a few. He's not had a great day on the round track at Sandown today. He said he got stuck on the rail and beaten on one, and he's won on the other, and he'll get a lengthy ban at a crucial time for that one. So, look, I'd hate the pressure of being a top jockey, stepping into a top job and having everyone scrutinise every single ride. But you've got to take that into account when you're back in a 2-1 shot in an open race.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's not the sort of angle I wouldn't be worried about Colin Keane on any horse, but I get what you're saying. Thing is, she's very short price on what she looks very good. She's very well bred, obviously being a Judd Monty filly, but I'm not sure she's done that. And I know she hasn't done as much as half of them in the field here, or some of them in the field. So I just thought 2-1 was a price worth taking on. Cajole was obviously ran very well at Ascot. Perhaps a bit unlucky not to win that day. So she comes in, but she's got a lot to find. Let's do lots of them. That's lots of them. The 2 I liked are near the bottom of the list there. Miss Tonnerre, just because Ed Walker's in tremendous form and won the Sandringham with a filly. Her 4th to Desert Flower, Flight, and January in the May Hill looks pretty good now.
Yeah.
She's had excuses the last twice. Didn't stay in them. She started 7-2. She started the same price as World to win the Musadora on her debut. Literally everything went wrong. She pulled hard. She got whacked by Kieran Schumacher's filly Go Go Boots about 5 times, and she didn't get home. So, given the Ed Walker sort of way with fillies and how well he's doing, I thought she might run well. And I also like Sweet Francais for Mark Johnson, just because she's unbeaten. She's very well bred. I study a man out of a Frankel mare. She was impressive, very impressive at Haydock. It wasn't much of a race, but these races go to horses like that. She's done as much as Supermodel for me, and she's a bigger prize. She's probably done as much, not quite as much as Blue Bolt, but you know what I mean. I think anything can happen in these races. We see it time and time again in these listed filly races. The filly you were talking about, William Haggis's, that won it 2 years ago, was rated about 78. She was
78. She was rated exactly 78.
78.
See what I did there? See what I did there? That was a good guess, wasn't it?
Beautiful.
I actually didn't know.
And
I said
she was only 22 to 1. The following year's winner was rated 97 and was 25 to 1.
Yeah, exactly.
And the highest rated horse
crazy.
filly in here is rated 99.
Yeah, and we've had one winning favourite in the past 10 years, so it's. But again, these horses, they're not being, they're not 6-7-year-old handicappers where these ratings are absolutely baked in, are they?
No, they're all guesses. They're all guesstimates.
Absolutely.
No, every handicapper who handicaps races will be looking back over the races that they do and marking them up or down depending on what happens and what other horses have done since. I mean, it happens all the time. So you can't take everything at total for face value. Yes, we know, we think we've got a certain level, or the ratings are telling you there's a certain level, but we actually wouldn't be 100% certain about any of them. There's, one of our handicappers always used to say there's a 15-20% margin for error.
Yeah.
Which is fairly big.
That is fairly big.
So, and of course, they all improve at different rates as well.
Well, and in different conditions, in different races.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I wouldn't be going anywhere near the mark. It wouldn't surprise you if Blue Bolt won. 2 I like. One of them was Tom Sweet Francais for exactly the same reasons. Didn't beat much last time, but didn't half look good doing it. And yeah, the Charlie Johnson's in cracking form actually. Because they fire an awful lot of arrows, and sometimes they're just endless losing runs, but now they're striking at about 25% at the moment, which is incredibly good for that yard. And the other one was unfortunately the one that's firing at 0% over the last 2 weeks, which is David O'Mara's. But Tundra Rose I just thought was interesting at a very, 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 very big price. She definitely didn't like the ground and was definitely still very green when running in a listed race on soft ground at Newmarket last year. But she still finished third. Wasn't the best listed race in the world, I'd admit that, but it is stable to her earlier on this year. He said, I definitely think she can win a stakes race. Or I can win a stakes race with her, and she just interested me a bit at a big price. Yeah.
I mean, you say it wasn't that much of a listed race. It was hard because the winner, Smokin, was smashed off the boards in the Musidora, sent off favourite, and hated the conditions and was tailed off. So we haven't had it properly tested.
No, that's true. That's true.
I mean, there's loads of others. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've put up Bermuda Longtail in her last 2 runs, haven't you, Tom? So it would be.
Disappointed with her at Epsom. I don't know. I know it was against the old fillies, and it was probably biting off a bit more than she can chew. But she had track position. She had everything right. Now, it might have been softish ground, but it wasn't too soft on Derby Day. I was really, really disappointed with her. Maybe we can blame the track, but you know me, Ross. I don't forgive horses that let me down like that. So she was off the list. It's one as Keels points out. It is a bit of a guessing game, but that sort of suits me down to the ground a bit because the prices you're getting big prices about horses that could be at least as good as the favourite.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so that's why I quite like them. That's why I would play Miss Tonnerre and Sweet Francais against the field.
Okay. Yeah. Again, I won't bet in this race because I think I'm going to have 5 years off after the last couple of seasons of getting involved in the
You will.
Well, I mean, I might lay the favourite, to be fair, just for various reasons. But I mean, the most interesting one for me is Supermodel, who, I mean, she absolutely murdered them at Nottingham in an insane time where you instantly thought, right, okay, this horse is a listed/group horse. And given that Haggis brings them along so slowly as well, and we've seen how many times have we seen these silks carried over the past 6 to 8 weeks for really progressive handicappers, she would have ended up in the perfect place at Ascot, given where she was drawn last time out. But it might end up, given how some of those Ascot races went, Tom, that it was a bit of a blessing in disguise, and also how well Haggis does here in this race. she's the horse I'm most excited about. That's for sure. She comes from, an incredible family. On the on the dam side, you've got Passage of Time and Timepiece and some really, really good
she
horses.
could easily be. Yeah, I mean, look, she could easily be the one. Easily, there's no question about it. The one I don't like really is Victory Queen. Actually, despite being unbeaten, I thought she scrambled home last time. I'm not completely convinced by her, so I thought she was the one I wouldn't back at the top of the market. But there's quite a few that I would never back Blue Bolt at 2-1 either. So look, you can make a case for all those ones at big prices, and probably Blue Bolt will go and beat Victory Queen. It could be one of those races, but
yeah, I would say about the same Victory Queen. I'd make the argument that she was lucky to win both of the races she's won, to be fair. But anyway, right, okay. The Distaff then will be back to Sandown very shortly for the Eclipse, of course. But let's take a trip back to Haydock for the Old Newton Cup. Handicap I do like in the over the years, because again you've got loads of still quite quietly progressive middle distance handicappers here. So Lowry's Pass is your 7-2 favourite here. Plage de Havre 11-2, Paddy the Squire 15-2, Stress Free 8s, Minstrel Knight 8s, My Dream World 8s, Minstrel in fact they changed again, City Delight 8s, My Dream World 8s, Minstrel Knight 8s, Chillingham 10s and bigger the rest here. And the favourite here, Gills, is a horse that I marked over the back end of last season as a handicapper to follow, and slightly weird horse who looks like it needs 1.5 miles, but only seems to win at Goodwood over 10 furlongs. But this horse is on pedigree and run style is crying out for this trip. But again, the market has found him.
Yeah, he hasn't been missed. He's got a right chance if he runs. Trainer said he won't run if the rain doesn't come. But I mean, as Tom says, it looks like it has, and he just said it won't run if there's any firm in the description. So I think he probably will. He probably is the one to beat. He is very progressive. But yeah, he's short enough, isn't he? I mean, the one I've backed is getting towards a short enough price, to be honest. Plage de Havre of Andrew Balding's. He's just sort of taken off over the last 6 months or so. Well, he couldn't do any more than that really, because his first run for over a year was in November 2024, and he'd only run once before that. But he's just improved, apart from one blip when he ran in that all-weather marathon over 2 mile at Newcastle and pulled up and weakened very quickly. Now, I'm assuming he just didn't stay. There might have been a problem with him, but it massively improved up until then, and it was none the worse for it a month later when he went to York. And he was, I thought he was a really good third to Well Mosher. And Stress Free's in the race, and not much bigger price, despite the fact being £8 worse off for winning since. So the form's okay, and I just thought he's another middle distance horse that Andrew Baldwin will get the best out of. Yeah,
I mean, again, you do look at some of these Saturdays races, and there's a couple more tomorrow. I keep going, Andrew Balding again. Andrew Balding again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like you said, he had an absolute cracking week last week, and it was incredibly painful to see Spirit Mixer beat Dancing in Paris. One, I was on Dancing in Paris at 33s and anti-post, and two, I've backed Spirit Mixer for that race at least twice. So but I mean, hopefully Mr. Balding will do me a favour with this one tomorrow.
Yeah, and he had 3 on the card at Sandown today, of course, including the old boy Coltrane. What did you like in the Old Newton Cup, young Tom Segal?
Well, Sir Larry's Pass was my first choice, undoubtedly, but not sure about the price, so I reverted to my old pal Paddy the Squire. I just like Paddy. I don't know why. I just think he's by Golden Horse, so he's been running over 10 furlongs. I loved his win at Chester at the start of the season when he sort of looped the whole field. Then he ran really well in a race at York afterwards, where he sort of got stuck on the outside. Now, he might have been on the worst part of the track there. The 2 winners, John Godson's horse, one up the far side, and the second was up the far side. I just thought he's an improving horse. He's handicapped on a load of soft ground form from last year. In fact, I think he ran 5 or 6 times at soft ground at the end of the season. He doesn't like soft ground. He wants fast ground. That's the key to him. He's got a very good record on fast ground, and I'm hoping the rain stays away from him. He won't mind it if there's some rain, and it's not going to be soft by any stretch of the imagination. But I just thought he's an improving horse from a yard that does well with this type of horse. Ian Jardine, I've always had plenty of time for him, and I just thought, I thought this would have been the plan for a long time. So stepping up to 1.5 miles for the first time with some decent ground, hopefully, I thought he'd run really well.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the one time he has run over a mile and a half, he was second in the Lanark Silver Bell to a Roger Varian stayer on good to soft ground as a 3-year-old. So if it's good to soft mile and a half at Haydock tomorrow, it might be perfect.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I personally think he wants fast ground, but good to soft will be fine for it. You know, I don't think it'll be good to soft. I mean, there's a bit of rain floating around. They'll probably have 5 mil, and that's what they'll have put on anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if it's hot again tomorrow, it will quickly dry out. You see my back garden, it's brown. 5 millimetres will make a difference.
Yeah.
Slight bit of difference to it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look, you should have Yarmouth yesterday. It's amazing sometimes when, I mean, you talk about, you know, watering and clots of the course, then they pan out and, you know, you've got this beautiful strip of green down the middle, and everything else looks like it's racing in South Africa. I mean, it must be a desperate job.
It's like when you go to Ascot, Royal Ascot, and everyone's sitting and having their picnics on the jumps course, and it's like completely baked, and then you just think in October they're going to be jumping around there.
Yeah, I know.
You know, 3 months time.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad, especially as it was still waiting for it to rain for more than sort of 6 hours at a time. It's pretty crazy.
What do
No
you
opinions.
fancy, Ross? What do you fancy?
Well, like I said, the problem with having a horse like I want to follow Sir Lowry's pass all season. The problem with a horse like him is he's starting to get that profile where he's always going to be 3 to 1, 7 to 2. But you know, reading the piece the other day about that the run you had, sometimes 3 to 1, 7 to 2. If you think a horse is a group horse in a handicap, isn't that bad? And I do think he is a group horse in time. I think the overpriced one for me is Stress Free, who I didn't think wanted to put his head down and win, but then he got up at Haydock, beat a good horse who'd been beaten by Sam Hawkins at Newcastle before then, and I just put a line through that Ascot run because it was just it's a bit of a weird race. But again, David O'Mara. So I just don't want to take the 5 on, and I don't particularly want to back him at 7 to 2. But I kind of hope he wins because I think he's a good horse. Like I said, I think he could definitely progress into group horse, and I do. Again, Ed Walker's fast becoming one of my favourite trainers, I think, with the way he's taking these horses up through the ranks. Michael Lusty says, Ross, if you want to see rain move to Northern Ireland, I'll consider it, Michael. So yeah, that's on the option on the agenda anyway. If you're watching at home right now, don't forget to like the stream, by the way, because we got record likes at Royal Ascot. And if you get over, what have we got? If we get over 500 likes, we'll come back next week and we'll do every night of the July meeting ahead of.
And if we don't, we don't. Is that the deal?
And if we don't,
yeah, stay quiet, lads.
I've got
we've got loads of days off coming.
Yeah, lovely stuff. But producer's saying we're doing it anyway, but you kind of ruined the promo. That's the point. The viewers don't know that, do they? But if they get over 500, we'll do all three, and for the Super Saturday, Tom will give you a tip in every single race at York, Chester, and Newmarket. No, he won't.
Yeah, you will be, because I'll be on the plane to Greece then, so you'll never find me here when they all lose.
Fair enough. All right, well, you'll have to send me them the day before. Okay, right. Move back to Sandown then for the big race of the weekend, the season for Sandown, and we have Ombudsman at 11 to 10, Sozy 5 to 1, Delacroix 5 to 1, Camille Pissarro 7s, Ruling Court 9s, Hot as Hell would be an apt winner at 28 to 1. We asked you who wins the Coral-Eclipse, and you voted 51.3% for Ombudsman, 12.9% for Sozy, Delacroix 25.9%. And 9.9% the other. So there is an anti-French bias in the poll, that's for sure. Yeah, I think if we're pricing it up on the votes, we'd see quite a different market here. But Ombudsman 11 to 10, Tom. I think it's fair to say that it genuinely wouldn't be that surprising if any of the 6 won. But let's start by asking you who you think will.
I'd be surprised if Hot as Hell, Ruling Court, Camille Pissarro, or Delacroix won.
Touche, my good.
I'd be surprised if a 3-year-old won. I don't think they're any good.
As would I, yeah, I'd agree.
I don't think they're any good. I think it's a shootout between the top 2. I really do. And I'm quite surprised Sozy's such a big price, actually. I think it's the perception, which might be right, that he won't like the ground. But if ever there was a fast ground pedigree, he's got it, Sozy. Every time he's run with good in the description, he's won. I think he wants fast ground. I actively think he wants fast ground. So I think it will come down to tactics. If he's behind Ombudsman turning for home, he's got no chance. If he's in front of him, it'll be hard to pick him up, I think, because I think Sandown will suit him perfectly. So I'm prepared to hope that Maxime Guillaume and Andre Fabre are watching this, not having their snails or what they're having, and watching this and think, we've got a chance of making the run in here because we've got a 1.5 mile horse that stays very, very well at a track that suits front runners. I hope they take the bull by the horns and go forward on him. And if they do, I think he's got a chance of beating the favourite. I think it's between the two.
Okay. It's a strong opinion there. I mean, I do kind of agree. I was just setting it up for, like I said, you've got Group 1 winning 3-year-olds, but they're kind of sharing them out amongst each other to a certain extent, aren't they? And I always feel like, Lambourne, they didn't quite know who their best horse was until they ran the Derby, and then suddenly, maybe Lambourne's our 1.5 mile horse. They don't quite know whether Lion and Winter's a sprinter or a stayer. It is.
Yeah, well, what's he going over the 7 furlongs or something next time?
Yeah, he's off to France over to 7 furlongs. Yeah, so it's a bit of a weird year for the 3-year-olds.
Yeah, it is a bit of a weird year for the 3-year-olds, and on form so far, Delacroix certainly isn't the best of them. He's looked good in beating Lambourne in a 1 mile 2 furlong trial, but I mean these horses had absolutely thumped Lambourne over 1 mile 2 furlongs. I'm absolutely certain of that. You know what I mean? If he hadn't won 2 derbies, he'd be a cup horse for next year, wouldn't he? You know what I mean? He's just an out-and-out stayer. So to me, that's sort of no big deal. I mean, the fact that Ryan Moore's chosen him over Camille Pissarro tells you that Camille Pissarro's got no chance. Delacroix's the better horse. I mean, they were the other way round in the prices the other day. I'm surprised the bookmakers saw them like that because he chose, but Delacroix went off 2's favourite for the Derby, didn't he? And he was well fancied. Things didn't go right for him, and he probably wouldn't have stayed anyway. So I mean, he's the one that's open to improvement, but they've got a lot to find, haven't they? And this is the thing. I look at it. I like Tom's argument for Sosie. My issue is just that Ombudsman was just so good at Ascot. To me, you're asking him to underperform. Now I know plenty of horses have come here and got beat. None of them would have had as much in hand as he has on the form. You're
right. I mean, we had Ouija Board, Racti. I mean, we've had good horses, very good horses.
We've also had My Dream Boat and I can't remember what the other.
You've had Naef got beaten this after winning at Royal Ascot. So
yeah, but Naef ran in the field of 15.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
Different.
It was
different times.
Race, and this, he ran to an RPR 130 at Ascot. Only 14 horses have done that in Britain since 2009.
Yeah.
So that's the level he sets. The question mark is, of course, about the quick turnaround. And I agree with Tom. The Sosie thing, he may well want fast ground. The 2 defeats that he's had have been on the softest ground that he's had.
Yeah.
So he may well prove it, and he may well win the tactical battle. But am I prepared to have a bet on it? Knows the answer.
Yeah.
If there was 6 weeks between the Prince of Wales and this race, I'd think Ombudsman was an absolutely enormous price at 11 to 10.
Yeah.
And that's the only worry to me. So.
Yeah, it's one of those ones, again, I kind of thought after Royal Ascot, I was like, this horse is an absolute monster, but if he does go for the Eclipse, I'll want to take him on because it'll be a completely different race. But the more I started to look at this race, I mean, first off, again, I want him to win because he was so good at Ascot. But
it's the only thing, isn't it? You don't run to that level without it having taken something out of you, even if it looks as though you've won easy. And that's the reason for taking him on the quick return.
Yeah.
I'd like to prove us all wrong, and he'll just go and win. And he's quite lightly raced, and he might be able to get away with it. So,
I mean, the issue for me is, he won at Ascot, but they went of mad gallop, and he got beat at Sandown because Al Mackham sort of quickened away from him. He was
also under a penalty in first time out.
Yeah, I guess what I was going to say is if they do how many races of this nature with multiple valid oil horses in. I mean, I was expecting them to dawdle at Ascot and struggle because of that reason. It went the other way, but it doesn't mean that he won't get sort of outspeeded.
I think they'll be wanting a dawdle this time, though, won't they? Don't you?
Yeah, but I don't know. Will they? He's so strong at the finish. I think he'll.
No. I'm thinking Ballydoyle will be wanting a dawdle.
I see. Right. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Sorry, say that. I think they'll go as slow as they possibly can.
Yeah, but I thought they would at Ascot, and look, then they went off like 5 furlong sprinters.
Yeah, but that's Los Angeles, isn't it? I mean, I think Delacroix might be a miler, in the whole scheme of things. Camille Pissarro's a Wootton Bassett that was running over 6 furlongs last year. Are they going to want? They're not going to go hard. They're not going to go hard because if it turns into a war at Sandown, they're not going to win.
Yeah,
they're not going to win because they'll run out of puff. They won't be strong enough, and it'll suit Ombudsman. So that's why I think there might be a chance for something else to make the running, and that's why I'm hoping that Sozi does it. He's a keen-going horse that's been prominently lots of times in his life, and if they do that, I give him a chance because I think the race would set up perfectly for him.
Yeah,
but Ombudsman is by far the most likely winner. It's simple, and prices will tell you that. 51%. They weren't too far wrong, were they? 11 to 10, 51% weren't far off. The boys in the thing.
I tell you what I am going to do. I am going to have a bet in this race, and I'm going to back Hot as Hell 3 places. He beat Tennessee Stud at the Coral last year. He beat Delacroix at Doncaster. I think Field of Gold's the best 3-year-old we've seen this season, and he was 4.5 lengths behind him on his seasonal reappearance, running on. I mean, again, I think if it changed the trainer, maybe change the price. He's by Too Darn Hot, who's really.
He does want cutting the ground. He definitely does. I know he handles it better, but he does. He's got the action for it as well.
You say that. I mean, to be fair, he's finished first, second, or third in every run, on every ground.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't thought in a Group 1 at this level. Yeah. That's the thing. I do like the horse.
I just think there's a possibility. I think there's a possibility of Ruling Court to bomb out. There's a possibility of Camille Pissarro to bomb out, and then I'm looking to finish third. I'm looking for one to just hold on from one of the others.
What price are you looking for? What can you get? Can you get anything yet?
Well, 28's each way 3 places. So.
Oh, you've got each way. Who does that? Who's going 3 places?
Coral and Ladbrokes.
Oh right. Okay.
It's a bit of a treat. So I'll be walking to a shop.
News just in, boys. David O'Mara has had a winner.
Has he? Oh, he has.
There we go.
Orban as well, of all the horses. Orban. There you go. And there's the Smart View, of course, as well, which says that Ombudsman is a certainty, doesn't it? Pretty much on that. Look at that. I mean, look, Smart View takes in lots of data, feeds it in, and tells you, the strengths, weaknesses, and the percentage chance of winning. 99% for Ombudsman. 84, 78, 83, 80, and 87. Look, you might use it, you might not, but that is that's quite a big vote for Ombudsman, isn't it? So yeah, okay, 11 to 10. I do hope he wins. To be fair, on the chats, diddly-dee, 18 days ago to the Sunderland, it was a hard race too. He's not sure about the price with that. Diddly-dee, Hot as Hell needs a bog, says Big Shug. I don't know, maybe. We'll see, I guess. What have we got? Anything else? Back to Ruling Court at 12's been campaigned terribly. Might be finished for the season, says Big Shug. Delacroix and Camille Pissarro in the frame. Says you won't like the ground, says Ian Sunderland. So, look, lots of opinions. We'll put them to the test tomorrow in the big race, of course. There's loads of other things going on tomorrow as well. Like I said, cracking cards at Haydock, at Sandown, even Beverley getting in on the mix on a Saturday. I'm sure you've got plenty of angles, and you can get involved on the Racing Post Plus. And then next week, like I said, there's no rest of the Wicked July Festival. The Goodwood and Galway will be around the corner.
Yeah. I've just found out I'm going to have to be in here for most of the week. So yeah, thanks, lads.
That's all right. Don't worry.
Thursday and Friday, Keel. I'll do your rota for you. Thursday and
Friday, is it? Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
If you like, I'll let you beat me at table tennis again.
Oh, right, okay, thanks.
Was that all right? Do you want to? You happy with that? Right, fair
he's
enough.
not much of a threat to Keels, I wouldn't imagine.
No, absolutely not. But I am half tempted to just go home and just secretly practice for the next month.
It still wouldn't be a threat to Keels. You could practice for 25 years, you wouldn't be Keels.
Yeah.
Not that good, mate.
Well, I don't know. I mean, how old will you be in 25 years?
I doubt I'll be here.
Okay.
You might be him then.
In that case, we'll set the date for 25 years. Right, the nap's coming up after this. All right, best bets then on Eclipse Day, Sandown, Haydock, or elsewhere. I don't know, throw a curveball in if you like. Some of the races tonight maybe haven't been the best betting heats in terms of finding naps. So Tom Segal, first nap to you for a change.
What's that? Many Men at Haydock for me.
Many Men at Haydock in the mile 6 handicap. Paul Kealy.
I shall go with Kurdos in the opening sprint at Sandown.
Okay, lovely stuff. Can I go for a race we haven't talked about?
Mm-hmm.
Dance in the Storm, the 4:12 at Sandown.
Is that another Andrew Balding?
Another
He's
Andrew
got
Balding.
best adventure in the last.
Best adventure in the last, yeah. It could be an Acca day.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to, I started to get excited about this horse, made some stats on, and then realised we weren't covering the race. But she absolutely dotted up over course and distance. Siblings Dancing Star, 3-year-old campaign, went from 75 to 108. Foxtrot Lady went from 83 to 102. She won off 80 the other day. I think she'll win off 87 tomorrow. There you go. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Like the stream. Goodbye.